Okay, here we go. Next session coming in hot. We're going to talk about publishing and we're talking about self-publishing. I've done both, interacted in both spaces, and both are great. And actually, some of the new ways that the publishing industry has been adjusted, social media, all kinds of different things. The publishing game is super different. It used to be, you have to pay, if you got picked up, by a publisher, that's great. But if you didn't, and you want to self-publish it, you have to find some publishing agency that will help you with that. And you go through the whole process. You have to pay a bunch of money to be able to buy 10,000 copies to kind of make it worth your while. Then maybe those sell, or maybe you have a garage full of books that you never sold and never made your money back. And so it can be kind of a scary thing. A lot of times people think if I'm going to, release a book, I got to have a bunch of money set aside for it. And the truth is you don't. Other than the design and editing process, you can actually self-publish for free. And I'll explain that a little bit here. But for me, just for my own journey, 7 books in now, I have 3 going on. 4 of those books are with a publisher and the others are self-published. Now, all of my books started self-published. Okay. So this was book number 1. Now, I had originally started writing this as my first book. I finished it. I brought it to a literary agent. So if you're going to go the traditional publisher route, usually, just so you know, I mean, every publishing agency has a self-publishing option where you can kind of pay them, and they will help facilitate each step of the publishing process. People love the idea of getting picked up by a publisher, which means they pay for everything. Okay. But either way, a traditional publisher typically has a self-publishing arm where you can pay them in the editing, design, printing, phase. And there's some really great help for that. But that's still going to be an investment, which is fine if you'd like to do that. But in this case, I went through the process of writing. I pitched it to a literary agent. An agent is the in-between the writer and the publisher. So they're the ones who negotiate. A lot of times, if you are going to try to get a book deal with a major publisher, you need an agent so that they can actually get you in the door, get your book manuscript to the top of the stack, you know what I mean, so that you're actually able to get in front of the right eyes to potentially put your book forward. So I got an agent who is the agent for a lot of well-known authors, and she and her team were the ones who reviewed this manuscript years ago and said it's a great book, it needs to be written, but you just don't have the platform yet to sell it. You don't have the social influence. You don't have all of that. And I really agree with them at the time. I shelved it. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I waited. So I was able to release it at a much different stage this last year from the time of this filming. But the agent also, when you are trying to get a traditional publisher to pick up your book, you don't really want to write the whole thing, because most of the time a publisher wants to be engaged in the writing process. So you actually put together a book proposal that you submit to a literary agent for them to review. Then they will bring that to a publisher. Once you get a deal, then you would finish the book. So what I'll try to do as well is just give you a couple examples of book proposals I've created, give you that visual. The better you put those together. And I took this template that I'm going to share with you guys from a few great pitches that I think will help give you an idea of the kind of book proposal you could put together. So if you want to go that route, try to find a book agent that will look at your story. And sometimes, the average person, if you will, may not necessarily get much of a look at a traditional publisher. They may not feel like you could sell it. Now, unless you have a very specific story, you're a well-known athlete, you're an actor, you've got a very intensely traumatic story, your situation was on the news, something that would feel like you could sell that story in a way that they could really push and sell and feel like it could get some real traction. For the majority, when you're first writing a book, you may not necessarily get much of a look from a major publisher, and that used to be a bigger issue. Now it's less of a deal because you can self-publish it and actually do really, really well. The the process of getting a major publisher to pick up your book, there's a couple different ways. You could really just focus on that, and you don't want to publish a book until somebody picks it up and does the whole deal. That's one option. And that way you have to really focus on growing your own social platform or your influence or your stage, if you will, at a level that a publisher goes, wow, you've got so much reach. We're gonna sign you and get you going. That could be a way to do it. The other deal would be to not worry as much about platform, just worry about getting your message out. So you may do a lot more self-publishing. That audience may build to a place where the publishers then are coming after you, which in my case, I initially self-published the Following Jesus book. A year into it, it done so well, made some connections, and Outreach, who's my publisher now, they picked up the book and have now run with it and now taking on several of my books. Some of them I've pitched to publishers. They've not necessarily bid on them or a little bit. And I just felt like, man, I want to get this message out. Don't need to wait for it. And I'm just going to release it myself. Sometimes a publishing agency would rather you not self-publish because if you don't have good sales numbers, that could hurt your ability to really get picked up by a major publisher. But another author, well-published author, said to me, sometimes it's the chicken or the egg. You know what I mean? What comes first? Do you wait till you have the influence to get picked up by a publisher? Or do you publish enough books that develops the influence, right? So I've found that for me, I'm going to be less focused on, is this going to make me a bunch of money? Is this going to sell really, really big? And more focused on being faithful with the message, faithful with the content. So I'm just going to look to get this book out there as effectively and efficiently as I possibly can. Okay, which is what's led me to self-publish a little bit more. And now that is picking up, some of the other options are even more of an open door. Okay. So I would just encourage you, consider pitching whatever you have to a publisher, but don't wait around forever for it. Okay. Look at self-publishing. Now, self-publishing is amazing. I'm a massive fan of it. I am not in any contract with Amazon on this. They have a self-publishing wing. It's kdpprinting.com. I will post those links in here as well. But here's the beauty of it. This is unbelievable. Okay. It costs you nothing to create an account with Amazon. It costs you nothing to have your book on Amazon. The only thing that costs you is when the book sells, they take a chunk, they give you a royalty. That's how they make their money. So you literally, once you go through the process, it's pretty self-explanatory. But you create your account, you need your PDF of the cover of your book and the inside of your book. You upload those files. Seriously, you upload those files to this Kindle Direct Publishing, this KDP Printing. You upload it directly to them. It goes through the process of them checking it, make sure it's good. You can get a sample of it, the whole deal. And then you go live, and that book will literally be available on Amazon within 72 hours, and you literally have a book that's ready to go. And here's what Amazon does. This is what makes it absolutely amazing, super simple, affordable, and able to get out to the masses, is that Amazon does print on demand. Okay, this is very unique and incredible, where instead of you having to pre-buy or, purchase 5,000 copies, 10,000 copies, you don't need to do any of that. You make the book live. Once it's live on Amazon, you can order author copies yourself. But then when people decide, okay, I like your book. You post about it on social media. They follow the link. They go, yeah, I want a copy of that. They decide, okay, I'm gonna buy the 52 verses for kids. They click purchase. Amazon prints one copy, right, and sends them the copy. It's unbelievable. And this is available in most parts of the world now. They have these printing offices in America, Canada, the UK, Australia, a few different places where it can literally get to just about anywhere on the planet through Amazon, and they'll print one copy and send it. That way it avoids a lot of this overhead of you having to have a garage stocked full and you shipping, the whole deal. So I highly encourage this option. It's an amazing way to get your message out there quicker, faster. Again, I'll post some links, but the self-publishing option then allows you to be legitimized by being on Amazon. It's kind of like an industry leader when it comes to buying a book. Most people are going there for book. It also can help you do the Kindle, the digital reader of it. You can also link in an Audible if you do an audio recording. I have an Audible recording of my Following Jesus book. That's on Audible. I need to do that for the several of my other books, but right now it's the only one I have is Audible. And those options then are all available on Amazon. You can start posting, sending links, getting people to go there. They can purchase them. Now, then, if you're speaking or doing a book tour, or you're in a setting where you want to sell your books physically in person or do a book signing, you can go on the back end in your account, and you can order author copies cheaper at a discounted, massively discounted rate versus what you're selling it for publicly. And with that discounted rate, then you buy a chunk of them and you can resell them. You can actually make more money if you're selling in person by doing that than to just send them to Amazon directly. But it makes it simple and efficient. You don't have to worry about stocking books, having a supply of them. You can just print on demand. Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to explain by that. So you can do the self-publishing or the publisher route, and I'm continuing to float those options. I have a few books with a publisher, and anytime I'm about to write a new book, I usually put the feelers out to the different contacts I have and say, hey, if you're interested, pick it on up. Otherwise, I'm going ahead. I'm going full steam ahead with publishing it myself. And as you do that, if there's messages that are in you that you want to continue to get out, don't be as worried about, like, does every book sell massively? Worry about getting the book out there, getting the content out there. You're going to start building a reputation as a writer, building a reputation as a content creator, and somebody they can go to look to as a quality producer of content. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about marketing and building platform in kind of our final session, but this self-publishing route, highly recommend, highly encourage. As long as you do the work of a good design and a good layout, it's not going to feel like some janky self-published situation. It's going to feel strong, quality, high quality content available wherever books are sold via Amazon. Most people are going online to buy books now anyways. There are some options where through Amazon you can get them also available where a bookstore could request to host them and store them there. But the only thing within self-publishing in Amazon, you can buy ISBN numbers, which is kind of the book number, or Amazon will give you a free one, which it doesn't mean it's their book. They're just going to give you a free one to use on Amazon. But if you want to sell it anywhere else, you have to get your own custom ISBN number. So that's just a note. But they don't own the book when you publish it through them. You have the right to, discontinue it at any time. But here's one of the most amazing things, and this is kind of the done beats perfect that I love about publishing, self-publishing through Amazon, is, let's say if I've created this book on Word and I've laid it out as far as the interior pages. I have book layout. Most of my books I lay out in Word because I've just formatted it to look legit. But even if you send it off to a publisher and they are laying it out, let's say you find some errors in the book. Let's say you want to adjust a chapter. Let's say you want to update something, add a QR code into it, whatever. You don't have to, again, wait till you've sold 10,000 of your copies. You don't have to worry about all of that. You just edit the document, edit the design files, get the designer to update the files, resend you the PDFs. You upload those files, and literally within 24, 48 hours, those design files are updated. Now your book that's live is now with the edited, updated deal. This is super valuable because also a lot of times I think people wait to release a book because they're nervous and they want to say it exactly perfect. And yes, you want a quality product, but sometimes you just need to get that message out there. And you know what? You can edit and shape and tweak and fine tune it as you go. As long as it's not drastic errors or factual errors, errors in that way, or really painfully obvious grammar errors that you could have fixed with Grammarly. Other than that, man, get the book out there, let it be released, edit as you go. It's a beautiful new feature that I absolutely love and allows me to continue to strengthen. I've absolutely, every one of my books that's available on Amazon right now, I've tweaked, I've edited design files and covers and layout. I've done all of that as I've gone to continue to make it more effective, better feeling, looking, layout differences. I've added QR codes to make it simpler for people to find resources. All of that I've dialed in and developed as I've gone, and I want to encourage you to do the same. Don't be afraid to self-publish. I do have some limited coaching available where I can help people walk through some of that process. If you want to sign up for that coaching program, reach out to me. I can help you guys with some of that. Again, I have limited space in that, but I do offer that to some select individuals as you go through the application process. But your first stage in me being interested, engaging with that is obviously completing this course. So hopefully that helps you, encourages you. It's so possible. It's way easier than you think. And you absolutely can publish your own book and get it out there and make it available. I'll see you in the last and final session in just a few moments.